Hello, my name is Blasphemoth, and I'm a member of Multispace. We're not really sure what my role is, but what we do know is that I'm very different from the others. I also go by Blasphemous, or Blas, Blas being the shorter nickname that most people call me. I use he/it pronouns, with it being preferred, but I understand if some people aren't comfortable using that one. My sexuality and romantic feelings are both unlabeled. I don't exactly have an age because I feel as though I'm much, much older, but I definitely have a fully adult mindset. I'd like to make it clear first and foremost that I'm not a person. I am non-human. Don't call me a human or a person. It makes me uncomfortable, and it's simply not true either. I get that this might be hard for some people to understand, but it is what it is. It's not something I can control. In fact, a lot of headmates in other systems also have non-human identities. It's not that uncommon. Instead of mocking me or sending hate, put your energy into something productive. Otherwise, feel free to ask me questions and enjoy my content. Also, please don't call me a demon. I get that my appearance is a little creepy, but I'm not evil. I also don't want people who aren't my close friends to call me a monster or a devil. It goes along with the negative connotation territory that makes me feel like people are making me out to be something that I'm not. There's a lot of different things that you can call me instead. My favorites are entity and cryptid, but you may also refer to me as a beast, a creature, a being, or a thing. I'm also fine with a god or an eldritch, but do note that this is mostly just a joke that I find appealing. I also find it funny if people call me an SCP. I recommend you to be 18 years or older if you want to watch me. I'm not always the most appropriate. That said, I'm not going to go into detail about NSFW things or anything, so if your parents are cool with it, teenagers are allowed in my chat and watching my content too. I also tend to talk a lot about creepy topics, such as unreality, fake gore, and horror. And I tend to make other people paranoid, so be careful when consuming my content. Always be responsible for yourself and your triggers. I do something that I refer to and the others refer to as morphing into different identities. I'll never claim to actually be a different someone, and these aren't additional headmates, but reality checking is still not welcome. Also, please try not to judge me for the people that I morph into. I really can't control it. It's something the brain has decided is a coping skill, and I really just have to go along with it. It doesn't necessarily cause me distress, and I'm not really looking to experiment with trying to change this. I've never hurt anyone despite the nature of some of these morphs. I can still control my behavior and am responsible for myself. So, let's get into some of these morphs. Some of them are characters, some of them are based off of real people, and some of them are completely independent. Let's start with the ones based off characters, since some of you might know them. There's Shadow Bunny from FNAF. That one usually comes out at night, but is a pretty rare one for me. There's Vincent, based off the old fanon from Purple Guy. That one has some weird nostalgia mixed in for us. There's Sachiko from Corpse Party, which is one of the most off-putting ones, in my opinion, since she's just this horrible little child. I have fun in her morphs, though. And finally, there's Strayed, who is from an 18-plus horror game. I really only go into this morph around certain people, so you don't have to worry about that one. For independence, there's GB, or Bunny, spelled B-U-N-N-I-E. He almost reminds me of Unknown, but they're also too different for the morph to actually be fully mimicking him. There's Puppeteer, which is based on a pretty bad intrusive thought of ours. I tend to morph into him during nighttime paranoia episodes, so I shouldn't really be morphed there on stream. That one's also starting to fade out a little bit as we get more used to it. There's Crow, who comes out during stage shows of all things. like plays and musicals. Again, that's a pretty specific situation, so I probably won't be morphing into that one either unless it's some kind of acting related content. Finally, there's ones that are based on actual people. Sometimes I morph into someone based on Rye, which tends to really confuse people, so I always try to specify me being Morph Rye and not actual Rye. There's Yukuma, who is actually a combination between two comfort creators for us. I usually morph into that when someone needs comfort, since it's really the only way that I know how to be nice and calming. I kind of mimic their vibes. There's her, who is a pretty bad one. She's based on some people from our past. That morph almost always happens when I'm not fully out, and it's also a rare one, so you won't see much of that either. Finally, there's T, who is based on another content creator. I morph into that one to encourage the others sometimes to do things like self-care, taking medicine, that kind of thing. Sorry that was such a mouthful, but I wanted to be able to prepare people for the craziness that comes with being around me. As for when I'm myself, I'm fairly animalistic. I rely on my senses. I will look all around my surroundings. I tend to smell and taste things more vividly, I guess, and just generally touch and feel more. I also don't talk a whole lot unless someone talks to me first, or I'm in a situation where I'm supposed to be talking, like right now when I'm recording this, or if I'm on stream, that kind of thing. I almost always have to adjust to being in a human body when I first come out, which typically just looks like me like cracking joints and kind of getting situated and making myself comfortable. I smile a lot, and I have a hard time blending in as a quote-unquote normal person in society. I think a lot of times people can kind of tell that there's something different, and I'm definitely the worst at, well, I wouldn't say I'm the worst at masking, but I'm definitely one of the worst at masking our headmate situation. I like the kind of affection and praise that you would give a dog, I guess. I know that might sound kind of weird, but getting pat on the head, being told I'm doing a good job, stuff like that is nice for me. I also really like eating meatier foods, like jerky is one of my favorites. Finally, I'm very protective over the other headmates, as well as the people that I care about, and I have no fear in defending them. Now I'll talk about a few of my interests. My favorite color is black. It's the one that is in my design the most. I feel most at home outside. A lot of times when it's evening or darker is when I prefer to be out. I really like going to natural places like woods and cabins. Places like that make me feel more alive. I like taking walks on trails and hiking through the woods. I also enjoy finishing tasks that the others are having trouble doing. For example, a lot of times if we're playing a difficult video game or something, and the others are getting too tired or frustrated with it, I'll finish up the level and they can go back to enjoying what they were doing. I don't really have any media, whether that be books or shows or games that I like to do. I think I would be interested in tabletops, but I haven't been able to experiment much with them. I do really like roughhousing with our dog. He really is a good playmate, and we both have fun together, especially since I have more of those instincts and stuff. I think I get more into it than the other headmates would. I'm also interested in just playing solo with toys and stuff. Typically the ones that would be safe for animals, but I don't actually have animal toys. For example, we have a stuffed animal that squeaks. I like that a lot. I will sometimes play with like balls, that kind of thing. I don't actually like use animal toys. I just find things that we have that kind of mimic that aspect that I can actually get into and use. I also tend to like fidget toys. They keep my mind at ease and they help me to focus when I'm in a social situation where I'm trying to kind of mask and not present as myself. I also have a huge fascination with bodies and decay. The death process in general is very interesting to me, and I want to learn more about it. I especially love looking at anatomy and stuff like that as well. Zoology is fine too. I am more interested in humans than anything else, but I do like learning about animals and their biology on top of things. Pretty sure that covers about everything. I'll be in future videos. Goodbye!